Right, hi everybody, it's Kylie. I'm just going to try and bring up the live on my computer so I can see what's going on. And it looks like, right, sound's off now. I haven't done a Facebook Live where I've created with you, but I thought it was time to start, and I've been making a ton of cards using this, which is the Pretty Flowers embossing folder, and I've shared some cards on my blog before doing this technique, and I've had some questions about how I did it, and it is really super simple and you're gonna love it. So all you need to start is I usually cut a panel to size and pop it in my folder. Pop it down, get your oopsie, I always forget the sandwich, and that's not tight enough. I've got my blue one over here somewhere. Just in my craft room. I got a small delivery yesterday, so I've got things absolutely everywhere. Nope, that's not right as well. Never thought to practice this before I did it. Okay, there we go. So let's move all this out of the way. Okay, and then you've got this gorgeous embossed look. Really pretty. Now, I'm going to use a colour combination I've used with another card that I'll show you a bit later, and that's using these colours. So light and dark Daffodil Delight, light and dark Pale Papaya, and light and dark Granny Apple Green. And all you need to do is colour. Sometimes I use the brush nib, and sometimes I use the other, depending on the detail, etc. But you just basically colour over the top. It's as simple as that. Now, the nature of these markers is that they will bleed, so don't get all upset when you find it's not perfect. It just adds to the handmade look of the card. And I find this actually to be really relaxing. So I just sit here, colour it in, and you'll see how relaxing it is. I'll show you some of the examples. I'll have them up on the blog in a couple of days. I just picked out, so this sort of leaf, I did that all in this, really using the light Granny Apple Green. Of course, you can use any colour you like, you know, I just happen to favour the Granny Apple Green. Okay, where else? A couple of years ago, there was a folder in the range, I think it was called Country Floral, and I did this technique, and I still get asked about how I did it. And as you can see, it is as simple. Oh no, I've got a smudge. Well, we'll keep an eye on that, because I'm actually going to cut this panel down to size a little bit later. You can obviously create any size you like. You could have it as your entire background, or you could cut a smaller panel, which is what I'm going to do here. So as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. You can see that it's bleeding a little bit, but truthfully I think it adds to the character. Just try and use a fairly gentle hand. Do you have this embossing folder. I think it's one of my favourite. I've seen a couple of other techniques with this one, and I think I'm going to try and give them a go. I'm just looking for the same leaf if you're wondering why there's this big pause. Okay, here we go. What I love about this, you'll notice this as we get a bit further. Oops, see, I sort of went over the lines there. Don't worry about it. I kind of think I mean, we do our best. Obviously, I'd prefer not to have done that, but I kind of think that the people we give them to, like, they're not going to notice the odd blemish like that, and if they do, like, they're not going to make a big fuss out of it. And you can always try and cover it up too. Like, you might put a rhinestone or a sequin or something like that over it if you're worried. Oopsie. So I think I've got most of the lighter ones. So now I'm going to go in with my dark granny apple green, and I'm going to do more of the thick. Well, that nib's a little bit dodgy. Another pen. I might actually, let's see. I might even have dark ones, light ones. Here we go. I do happen to have a new one. We might try this one. It is easier. Because I use these ones a lot, like, it's my favourite of the greens. I do tend to wear them out completely. Nibs, run them out of ink, the whole gamut of ways you can ruin a marker. I do that. Okay, we've got some more over here. Yeah. The only downside is, like, for you guys watching, is that I can't, because it's alive, I can't speed it up. You'll see real-time colouring. I know some people find it relaxing. I do watch other videos where I see people colouring, and I do find it to be quite relaxing to watch as well. But usually it's sped up, so it goes pretty quickly. I'll tell you the other thing I do too. I always tend to miss, like, I'll go through and I'll do all of the leaves or all the flowers or whatever, and then I'll be like, I think I finished. And then I'll just see there's one bit that I've missed, like, usually right at the start. Do you guys do that too? Okay. Here we go. So we're getting there. Oopsie. I need a bit better light. I do have one overhead, but it's really not doing what it usually does. We've had such a grey weather lately. The last 2 days have been really beautiful over here, but they were saying that it's by Saturday afternoon, I think they said, we're going to be back into the rainy winter weather again. Okay, does that look like I've got, nope, it doesn't. Now you could cut these to size at the start so that you're only colouring exactly what you need, but what I tend to do too is when I cut them down, I tend to use a piece of it as to decorate my inside of my card. Okay, I think, nope. See what I there's always one or two that just disappear. You can't notice them because they're, you know, the white. And I was just thinking, I have never tried it with a coloured cardstock. I wonder how it would look with a light one. Okay, then we might go with the dark papaya, pale papaya. Add that into the middle of these. Flowers. It just gives them a nice little, in fact I think I'll just do all of the flowers with this colour while we've got it out. Basically with these, because they're such small embossed or raised bits, you just need to tap them and the ink will just fill it up immediately. But once again, I say to you, like, just do the best you can. If you blotch it or whatever, like it's not a big deal. Just say you're going for that artistic look. I'm an artist, not a scientist or something. That's what I usually say. That's my artistic nature coming through. Okay, do you think we've got it all? I think so, and I think we'll go on to the next one. Let's try the light daffodil. I've kind of hacked this marker because I was getting a fluffy nib. It's nearing the end of its days. So you can see I'm just colouring it very simply. I'm not doing any sort of blending or anything like that, just adding some colour to the raised areas. And you can see how it starts to come to life. Really pretty. To be honest, I've never tried to sort of play around with the different blends, etc. You know, trying to blend the colours. I usually just go for something quite simple. Like, I find it striking enough on its own, but you could certainly do that if that's what you wanted to do. What do you think of the colours so far? Aren't they pretty? This new pale papaya, it's one of those ones that you think, oh, I wish this was part of the range. I really like it. It's soft, but has this real pretty tone. Okay, getting there. See, told you, a little bit of relief that I missed. Easy to do, isn't it? Okay. I've missed another bit in there, but it's all right. Go through, do it all, what you notice, and then at the end you can sort of sit back and go, okay, what have I missed? And if you don't miss anything, good on you. I wish I could say the same. I always miss something. Now, where was it? Here it is. Okay, now I think we should just have the big ones, big flowers to go, and we're going to go with the light pale papaya. I actually had to order another one of these because I've been using it so much, the light one in particular, that I was just like, I can't run out of this. So fortunately it arrived yesterday, so I feel a bit more relieved, I guess, that I'm not about to be out of this colour. Do you guys have that with a favourite colour that you just sort of find yourself using over and over again? Oopsie. And you see how I've sort of got the pen on a side because I'm actually just trying to hit the top. I'm trying not to go between the embossed parts. I mean, as I say, don't worry if you mess up. You can hopefully disguise it with one of your embellishments or some ribbon or what have you, or chop it off. Okay. When in their bigger spaces, it's so much easier to apply the colour much more quickly. Okay, I'm getting there. A couple more flowers to do. Do you reckon that should be yellow? I think it should be. Let's just finish with this, the larger ones, and then we'll decide. Although I have a feeling I'm going to end up chopping that bit off anyway. You can see how this ink's starting to, the marker's starting to lose a bit of ink because it's drying up. It's so soft and pretty. Okay, and I don't even know where that came from. Was that there when we started, or have I done that? I don't know. Okay. And coming up on the home, I think that is going to be yellow. So we'll just get our yellow marker out again, our Daffodil Delight light one, and we'll add that in. So now you can see, hopefully, that we've coloured every bit. As you move it around, you might find, like I did here, that I've missed some of the embossed areas. Okay, so I've just tried to, for the most part, hit as much of the top as I possibly can. You'll see too, it actually, because it's the alcohol ink, it goes through to the other side, and I actually think that that is a really pretty look, and I've actually used this side a few times on other cards. Particularly I've done it with Balmy Blue, and it just looked gorgeous with the smaller ones with the pale papaya. So I can really, I like both sides. Okay, so next, after doing that, I'm going to cut it down. So where's my paper trimmer? Where is my paper trimmer? Whoopsie. And I'm actually going to do a little bit differently. I'm going to mat onto some white, and I want this mat to be 9 centimeters wide, and I'm going to take off 1.5 centimeters on that side as well. So that one's what, 13.3-ish. So now I'm going to decide to put this on, and I'm going to take off some of the bottom so that it's not embossed there. And let's see, let's take off, I have to take off a little bit more than 1.5 centimeters. Let's try that. Don't get rid of this piece. Now this, I tend to sort of eyeball it, so I go, I should have done another couple of mils. Sometimes I mark it with a marker, and other times I just do this until I think, oh, I like that margin, and I like that margin. So now I'm actually going to move it up because I'm gonna be able to cut that off. So take a pencil or whatever you have around. Okay, so I'm just going to chop off to about there. Okay, so move that aside. Line it up. And now I've got rid of that horrible blue blemish. Okay. Let's pop that aside and get our seal. Now I like a lot of adhesive. Sometimes when I'm working on an embossed image like this, I will actually use Seal Plus. It's just a bit stronger, but otherwise I just add a ton of adhesive. I don't want this going anywhere. So let's position that and we're good to go. Now I think what we're going to do is we'll take some baker's twine. So usually recently I've been using ribbon, but I think we might try baker's twine. Wrap it around a couple of times, 3 times maybe. Now I see people tie the most amazing bows and they look lovely and it's first go. I tell you, with my fingers and my fingernails and I never get it tied perfectly on the first go. Never. Absolutely never. I've practiced and it's not my thing. So don't feel bad if it's not your thing either. You're not alone. I won't chop that off yet, and I won't adhere it yet. I've decided I'm going to stick it on a green card base. I tend to do a top folding card. You could also, if you wanted to, this is where I miss the subtles folder. I would actually like to stick that through the embossing folder, that old embossing folder. Tasteful Textures, that was one I used to love as well. So I'm going to put it like that. Right, before we do that, before I adhere it all together, I'm going to do a sentiment. Now I need another bit of paper, and I think we'll use, I've been using this one a lot, it's the Artistically Inked, The Best Wishes. I thought I'd send it out. Everyone's going through such a hard time at the moment, so I thought I might send out a few cards to people, and we'll stamp it in Granny Apple Green. Beautiful. Pop that aside, and we're going to use the Ornate frames. One of those two. I can't remember which one I've been using. I think it's the larger one. I think the other one's just a fraction too small. Oh, you could. What do you think looks better? That one or that one? I think we're going to go for the bigger one. You can also do this, stamp it first if you like. Now, I'm not going to lift up my heavy stamp and cut and emboss machine again this time. I'm going to use the mini because it's just sitting on my desk. I tell you, what I love to use is this post-it note tape. It's just J Burrows, whatever it's called. It's from Officeworks, and I use it for everything from actually masking where I'm stamping, to hold my dies in place, to write notes on my cards if I'm trying to remember it for a blog post. It's fantastic. Okay, this is the mini. Yes, I have both of them. I use both of them all the time. I find it really handy to have the small one just sitting on my desk so I can use it when I need to, but obviously some things don't go through the mini, so I have the other one sitting on another desk and I use that as well. Okay, so we'll pop the die away and there. I think we'll pop this up. So let's get our Stampin' Dimensionals. As I said, I go overboard with adhesive. I always have, and I probably always will. But I like it. If I'm going to pop something off, I want it to be uniform. I don't want it sort of depressed in the middle. Having said that, if I'm putting it over some ribbon or something like that, I might not put it in the middle because that's where I want to create like a bit of a channel for the ribbon to go. Okay, this is why I don't secure it, because now I'm like, if I put it on this side, do you think that looks better? But just be careful if you're doing that, because you can wear the sides out and it can then look a little bit dodgy. Okay, yeah, I think I'll stick to what I've been doing, sort of move it more across to the side. Just a fraction. You can see I'm sort of bending the panel a little bit, not a lot because I don't want it to crease, but it just makes it easier to move the twine around without actually causing those dints that I was talking about. Okay, I think that'll work. No, still not quite happy. Fraction that way. Okay, I'll stick them down. So pull off the backing. Oh, look, I love these, but don't these backings go everywhere. There we go. Chop off the excess now. Okay, and then you could attach it directly, but I am going to pop it up again, and this is where you'll see how I tend to overuse my. I start out in what you would think is a reasonable fashion, and then it gets worse from here. Have you all been doing much creating? I know these lockdowns are just so hard, and I've been through a lot of them myself. We're not in one at the moment over here in WA. I thought we might have been. Did you all hear about the FIFO worker? So I was very concerned that we would be in lockdown as well, but at this stage it looks like we might have dodged that bullet. But I know I've got a lot of friends and family in Victoria and New South Wales and Queensland, and I know particularly my Victorian friends and family, they're really having a hard time of it at the moment. It's such an awful thing, isn't it? I'm so grateful that we've got a hobby like this though, because don't you find that it just, like, you get involved in it and it's so much more, it takes your mind off things. Well, it takes my mind off things for the most part. Okay, so how should we finish it? We could just leave it like that. We could actually add some Wink of Stella to the different places. We could actually, I might add these. I picked these up today. They came in my order, and that package is, they come with clear and silver, and they have like a teardrop, a diamond and a circle. And I'm going to use I'm going to use the circle. I was going to sort of tuck one under here. I just wish they were slightly different sizes, like the actual rhinestones. That would be awesome. So we might just stick to. That'll do. What do you think? That'll do. Okay, so then I'll show you how I do the inside. I keep it simple. I take another. I cut all my A4 cardstock down into quarters so that I can just grab it as I go. I'm going to take off another centimetre and a half. But I'm now going to stick this on before I cut the bottom piece. So if I don't get it lined up properly, I can take some off the top and some off the bottom. So I just add a little border. You can see now why I did that. If I'd have messed up here, I could have just taken some off the top as well. So I'll pop it in, take another centimetre and a half. It all ties in, it's all pretty. You could have done it on the bottom, you could have done it across the top. Really, it's up to you. I've just been lately in a habit of doing it along the side there. Gives me still plenty of space to write my messages. We open it up. Whoopsie, I nearly dropped it. Now you should try and make it square so that you don't put it down crookedly like I just did. And the last thing you should do, excuse me, reaching in front of the camera, is put your name on it. Now I've got a couple of stamps, so I do that. But if you've got a sticker or even just initial it. And there is my card. Simple, pretty. You can tell what, oh, see I've just missed, I've missed a little bit more. And because it's on the top, I can just give it a bit of a, beautiful. So would you like to see some of the others that I've done? So this is the one this was inspired by, so they're very similar. And then this is the Balmy blue with the pale papaya and the light daffodil delight. This is the dark pale papaya with fresh freesia. This one is soft succulent and dark succulent, and the pale papayas, and then we've got still the same soft succulent and dark succulent, and this is the light flamingo, flirty flamingo, and fresh freesia. And this one, would you believe I can't remember the colours that I used? I think it's dark fresh freesia, light polished pink, and then light and dark shaded spruce. So I was originally going to do this the other side, but I changed my mind. So it's so easy. I hope you'll give it a go, and yeah, and I hope you had fun watching me create, and let me know if you'd like me to do some more lives rather than just videos. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.